previously has let it know, be known that Councilman Kluwat is absent. Anyone wishing to speak on any agenda item, please sign in with the secretary. Number 4, Road Department Monthly Report, DPW.
In summary, our road report, we've dug over 17,000 feet of ditches, vacuumed 2,000 feet of culverts, and we're on our 4th rotation of weed control, which included 57 miles of Parish Road being cut, 69 miles of State Road, 90 miles of Parish Road being sprayed, and 56 miles of State Road being sprayed. And that completes our update.
Any discussion on the monthly report? None. Moving to number 5, Road Project Status Update Report, DPW.
Currently on the Roddy Road Bridge replacement, right-of-way acquisition's underway. My latest update says that appraisals are in progress and letters have been sent out to landowners. They're actually beginning to get feedback. Still estimated completion, have all the paperwork, December 08, January 09, somewhere in there. West Worthy Road widening, that right-of-way acquisition's also underway, and properties are starting to close at this time, so we're actually making good headway on that project. Roddy Road widening from 621 to 931, that right-of-way acquisition is just beginning through SJB. That's a project we just started and just awarded. Mere Road Bridge replacement, Contech, the company fabricating the structure, expects to have it delivered in early December. And we're installing that with our crews. Given weather conditions, we should move right into installation of that. The 2004 Intersection Improvement Program, we did receive DOTD permits for 61 at 929, 621 at 61, and Roddy Road at Airline. Those intersections need right-of-way, and the next phase is for the selection committee to choose a right-of-way consultant to work on that project. LA 932 at 933 intersection improvement, we received the DOTD geometric permit, and we submitted for the traffic signal permit through DOTD. And the next phase of that would be to acquire the 3 corners of right-of-way for that project. The 07 road reconstruction program in-house, we just began that project. Construction signage is starting to go up, and the actual construction is just starting to take place this week. That's our package that had 38 roads in it. The 07 reconstruction program 01, that was designed by PEC, is 100% complete. The road reconstruction program 02 by GSA is 90% complete, and substantial completion will be next week, actually. 2007 intersection widening project. Phase 1 is the curve widenings, Duplessis, Elwyn Dewey, and Van Broussard. That just began early part of last week. They're just starting to get their signage up and their utilities marked. Phase 2 DOTD permits were received for Swamp at Perkins, 931 at 44, and Henry Road at 73. And Seabrook at Bluff. Right-of-way acquisition on that project was only required on one of the intersections, and Volkert was tasked with that in their original contract, so they're starting that acquisition now. Phase 3, the 929 at 431 right turn lane, was bid by DOTD. I actually got back, the low bid this week was $127,000, and we had budgeted $170,000. So DOTD is going to move forward with awarding that contract. Phase 4 is a right turn lane at 42 onto 929, and they're preparing preliminary plans for that permit. And lastly is the 431 at Gold Place turn lane, which Evans Graves received comments on their Stage 0 study, which they're working on addressing at this time.
Parish President.
A couple of things. The 621 and 73 project, I'm seeing some activity out there at that intersection also. And the road that we were approached by Mayor Sullivan on the West Bank, at the John Foss factory. On the 14th, there's going to be a meeting with LEDC, Louisiana Economic Development Corporation, and they're going to consider increasing the grant. It looks pretty good at this time for that to happen. So that's just a couple other updates that I want to give you.
Thank you. Discussion?
Yeah, Ms. Jackie, on the 07 in-house program, what kind of time frame are we talking from start to complete?
It is a 150-day contract set for completion in April. I don't
Okay.
remember the exact date, but April.
Okay, that's the one with
Given
Cannon
weather.
Estate on it, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it
And
is.
that's one of the first on the list. Just so y'all know, Miller Road on that project was to be widened for the fire station.
Right.
That is highest priority.
Okay.
Immediately following that is Cannon Road,
Okay.
Cannon Estates Road.
Appreciate that.
Councilman Johnson?
Miss Jackie, on the Muir Road Bridge, check with Mr. Rue. I know we've talked with him, and we're working that issue. We've got a real concern with the drainage and opening up Muir Road, which is upstream of Roddy. And Roddy, before we do any of that channel work, we need to make sure we coordinate as best as possible so we don't do anything to put any water in people's houses when we do those bridge widening projects, if we can.
Okay.
Jackie, would you check with UTD on the 73 widening project and see where they're at? Do you have any updates?
I can tell you that they began drainage work on 621, which is the first phase of that project. And the reason I know that is our crews dug an outfall ditch along Eads Road for their drainage. And I know they started doing that drainage work along 621. So the drainage phase of the project has begun.
Any other discussion on the setup of the road project? None, we'll move into 6 Cannon Road survey for one-way street. DPW.
Last month, we were asked to survey the residents of Cannon Road again. We gave them the two options that were brought up at last month's meeting. Option 1 being reverse the direction of the one-way flow from 44 to Roddy. The second option was to extend that one-way flow from 44 to George Rieh. The survey results were overwhelmingly in opposition. Option 1, we had 5 for votes, 32 against. Option 2, we had 4 for votes and 33 against. So what I did in the next little phases report, you'll see the criteria for a one-way road. What AASHTO, the geometric design guide that's the State Highway and Transportation Officials Bible, tells you should do. And the 3 criteria for converting a road to one-way is where a single two-way street doesn't have adequate capacity and does not lend itself readily to improvement to accommodate that traffic, particularly where left turns are difficult to handle. Second is where 2 parallel arterial streets are located a block apart, and a standard block is maybe 0.07 to 0.15 of a mile. And third is where there are sufficient number of cross streets and appropriate spacing so you can have good circulation. When I relate those criteria to Cannon, it's obvious criteria 1, the road cannot handle two-way traffic currently, but left turn movements aren't the source of the problem. Criteria 2, the parallel streets to Cannon, Bayou Narcisse to the south, Black Bayou to the north, are almost exactly 1/2 a mile away. Therefore, an average trip would be, around a block would be about 2 miles, whereas a standard block would be 0.3 to 0.4 of a mile. And then the third criteria, cross streets, we have Highway 44, North Amelia, O'Neill, Roddy, Shealy, and George Rieh. Of those, North Amelia to O'Neill is the only cross streets that actually meet the criteria. However, North Amelia doesn't extend northward, so we don't meet the spacing criteria for cross streets. I did look into accident data, just so everyone knows. Accidents from 2006 to present, there were 31. 10 of those in '06, 9 of those in '07, and 12 in this year alone. So we do recognize that accident data is very high, but because the street geometry doesn't meet the criteria, DPW recommends we do not convert it to a one-way road. The long block length that we would create could be a disadvantage to an emergency vehicle, and it doesn't meet that national criteria. We understand that we need to look at something, so we are proposing to come back next month with a signage striping plan, and I'm looking into, we lower the speed limit, maybe use some flashing beacons, really light up the roadway, because I think lights, some type of lights at night, even if it's flashing yellow beacons, would help delineate the edge of the road and prevent those exiting from the road. And that's what I'm asking your support in coming back next month with a striping signage plan.
Would you also find out where those accidents occurred, whether at corners or within the main drag, or do you know that?
What they gave me, and I didn't put it in here, but they gave me the blocks. Like if accidents occurred between 44 and O'Neill, I could say how many they were. And I can go back and research what types. Okay.
Mr. Lambert?
Yeah, I agree with Jackie, and let her come back with it. You know, I see it's definitely, it was a big opposition to widen the road because they wanted to take so much property at the time. But, you know, we do need to do something. I'm glad you're finding something that we can maybe help. And I think the safety issues are on the intersections, not so much the accidents are happening right on the middle of the road, you know. Roddy Road is busy, and then Cannon, and then O'Neill. I mean, where Cannon and O'Neill meets, I think they had several accidents there also, so. I make that motion, or if we need a motion for you to come back at the next meeting, because we need to revisit it a little bit further, especially with the opposition that we're getting on it.
I'll second that.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Chris Lord to bring this back to the December transportation meeting. Any objection? None. Motion passed. Going to number 7, discussion to accept Thomas C. Extension into the Parish Maintenance System, DPW.
I'd like to give everyone a little bit of history on this item before I was here and possibly before some of you were here. This item was brought to the Transportation Committee in May of '07. And at that time, they deferred it and said, let's compile a list of all the roads we want to look at accepting. And it went back to the Transportation Committee in June 12th. And it was not accepted at that time because it didn't meet the criteria, the Parish Road Acceptance criteria. On October 8th, 2008, Thomas C. Road was brought to the Planning Commission for recommendation into the parish system, and Planning Commission recommended denial. October 16th, it went to the full council for acceptance, which is when the motion was made to bring it back to this committee. So we looked at the criteria. Roads constructed prior to 1993 must have a minimum 40-foot servitude dedicated, 16-foot minimum surface, and a minimum of 2 residences that access the roadway, unless it's an extension of a parish road. Then it would need 1 residence. Roads constructed after 1993 have to meet the current subdivision ordinance, which says a 60-foot minimum servitude is dedicated and platted for an open ditch road, 18-foot minimum paved surface, and established roadside drainage. When we look at Thomasy, it's a 13-foot gravel roadway, 20 feet wide from the top bank of the ditch to the opposing top bank, and the oldest map that we can find is dated 1998. So the platted servitude, varying from 30 feet to 40 feet and back to 20 feet, it doesn't meet that criteria for acceptance. And based on that platted map from 1998, we do not recommend acceptance of this road. And its width and drainage, it just doesn't meet the criteria.
Okay, discussion on Thomas C. Road. Mr. Lord?
So Jackie, even if it was constructed prior to '93, it still doesn't even meet the minimum servitude, right? The minimum
That's right.
width. I'm sorry.
They have, the residents had signed saying they would dedicate it, but it's not platted. It's more like a petition. It's not on a map officially dedicated. They just agreed saying they would do it.
Councilman Johnson?
Ms. Jackie, what would we have to do as far as the owners if they wanted to, apparently they want to go ahead and get it in the parish system and they're willing to give us the right of way? What do they need to go forward with as far as being able to do that and get it platted and do what needs to be done? And is that all we need to make it to where it's acceptable into the system?
If they dedicated the right-of-way, in order to provide the minimum width of pavement, there's electric poles and ditches they need to relocate out just to get the paved surface built, which is the reason why I can't recommend us do it. It's a major overhaul to get it up to parish standards. But they would have to move electric poles, dedicate the right-of-way, move the electric poles, move the ditches out, and then widen the surface and pave it.
And pave it as well?
The subdivision ordinance says it needs to be a paved surface.
Councilman Law?
I mean, I just don't think we can, it doesn't meet the criteria. I don't think we can accept it into the system. Whether or not the residents want to take those additional steps is up to them, but at this point in time, I'm going to go ahead and make the motion that we follow DPW's recommendation and not accept it into the system.
Motion by Councilman Law,
I second.
not accept. Second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Discussion? None. Motion passed. Number 8, task order with South Earth Sciences for the 07 TL/right-of-way 01 Phase 1 road project testing in the amount of $22,000 DPW.
This is a task order for us to get materials testing on the widening project that I mentioned is beginning construction for Van Broussard and Elwyn Dewey and Duplessis. And we would recommend you approve this task order in the amount of $22,000.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Todd Lambert,
Second.
second by Councilman Benny Johnson. Discussion? None. Motion passed. Number 9, substantial completion of the 07 RC-01 road project, DPW.
This is a substantial completion for the overlay project that PEC designed that is now 100% complete. I've ridden all the roads. We've made a small punch list, and we recommend accepting the substantial completion for this project.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Law,
I second.
second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any discussion? None. Motion passed. Number 10, Gulf Industries paving markings, change order number 1 to set new date for completion of May 3rd, 08, DPW.
This is a housekeeping item. This contract was our previous striping contract. The contractor finished it completely. However, he completed the project after the contract expiration date. He did satisfactory completed. We just are asking to change the date of completion. So it's no monies for this change order, but we're asking you to approve the change order to change the date to May 3rd, 2008.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Todd Lambert,
Second.
second by Councilman Benny Johnson. Any discussion? None. Motion passed.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Councilman
Yes, sir.
Todd Lambert.
Second.
Second by Councilman Chris Law. Adjourned.